Hi, my name is Brendan Bogue, and for my semester project, I chose to restore the pond that is located behind the agriculture building and right below the basketball court on campus there. So as you can see, this is before I started working on it. There's a lot of overgrowth of the taro. There's a lot of growth coming down the hillside into the pond, and then the pond itself had a ton of soil and silt and just a whole lot of like marshy material in there. So here was my original concept for the pond, my goal concept, and basically keep the pond as is, but restore it, and then add a confined area for the black magic tar to grow into so it doesn't kind of overgrow again like it did at the beginning. So I had to remove a lot of contents from the pond, at least 4 to 5 wheelbarrows full of just plant material and soil and water. um, the hardest part was just all the soil getting out. It was just the shovel. The pond wasn't flat on the bottom, so it was really uneven. So I kind of had to just get in there with a little tiny shovel and scoop everything out. So the reoccurring issues of this pond was we had a really wet semester, or at least for the first 2/3 of the semester were really wet, a lot of rainfall. So the pond kept filling up, and I couldn't really work on it when it filled up unless I drained it all by hand. It was just too much work. But luckily, the pond itself had some holes in the bottom, some lining, so the water was able to drain naturally. But it was 2 steps forward, 1 step back during this whole process. And here's a video of the pond. Just it would fill up in a day's worth of rain, and then it would take a whole 24 hours to drain completely. So it really prevented me from working on it. Um, the next grueling part of this project was clearing this perimeter. There was a lot of lava rock, a lot of small lava rocks around the edges, a lot of roots, and a lot of soil that I had to dig up by hand because the big shovel wouldn't really get through the lava rock without getting stopped. So it was just a lot of backbreaking work to clear out everything so I can get this pond lining out, the old pond lining out, and put in a new one. So I was able to take out one layer of pond lining, and because it was just really shredded, it was unusable, and I placed two new layers of pond lining into the pond. And there was a base layer under the one that I took out, and it was in okay condition. There weren't any crazy rips or anything like that. So I decided to keep it and not throw it into a landfill. And once I got these two layers of tarp put in, I kind of pressed it down. I gave it a little bit of breathing space for when it filled in so it wouldn't pull down the perimeter or the edges. And then I replaced the soil back along the edges around the whole perimeter. And I placed the rocks back up on the walls just to make it look pretty again. And this is the current condition of the pond. As you can see, the layers in, the rocks built up along the edges. It looks a whole lot nicer than it did before. And as of now, I am waiting currently for. I was gonna fill it up with the hose, but I decided since we're having such a wet semester, I was gonna let it fill up naturally from the rain. And currently it is filling up at a really good rate, so it should only be a week or so until it's completely full. And here's the taro that I managed to rescue from the original pond from the beginning. And it was my first time ever transplanting anything, so I trimmed the roots a little bit and I took off the leaves and I placed it in a bucket of water. And it was fun to see the leaves grow, and it's really cool because originally the black magic taro starts out, this purple black color. So it was interesting to see him green at first. And the sustainable aspects, other than the like refilling of the pond naturally from rainwater, is that originally the pond was designed for tilapia, which is a really sustainable fish to grow both for eating and for other purposes. They grow quick and they got a lot of meat to them for their size. and they don't take up too much space. So I should be able to fit a couple in there, maybe like 4 or 5 comfortably without them being too confined. And then tilapia is also used in the medical industry for burn victims. Thank you.